meeting is called pursuant to the provisions of the Open Public Meeting Law. Meeting of October 2025 is included in the list of meeting minutes, notice sent to the official newspaper, Township Daily Record, and the Star Ledger on January 8, 2025, and was posted in the bulletin board in the municipal building on January 8, 2025, has remained continuously posted as required under statute. In addition, a copy of this notice is and has been available to the public and is in the office of the municipal clerk.
Per the Township Code regarding rules of debate, the proceedings of the council shall be governed by Robert's Rules of Order. Please silence all cell phones. Proper notice having been given, the Township Clerk is directed to include this statement in the minutes of this meeting.
Roll call, please.
Mrs. Gurudo. Here. Mr. Schultz. Mrs. Senator. Vice President Kalish.
Here.
President Berman.
Here.
Mrs. Leo. Here. Let the record reflect the following members of the administration are present: Mayor Eric Lucina, Administrator Gary Milliken, and Chief Financial Officer Bill Egan.
Salute to the flag, followed by a moment of silence. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, we have no special presentations for this evening. Under public comment, first I want to say that the last couple of meetings, there's been mostly one, maybe two, mostly one individual that feels the need to call out during the meeting, while the meeting is proceeding. You have two public open sessions where you can come speak, 5 minutes each. I can remember a number of years ago pushing for a second meeting. By law, you only have to have one public meeting. We give you two. If you feel a need to call out during the meeting and disrupt the meeting, you'll get the gavel. You can possibly leave, or we can have a quick recess so people can realize why we're having a recess. Okay? Anyway, so right now, we'll have the public comment section. Please state and spell your name for the record. Each speaker is limited to one comment of no more than 5 minutes, and no yielding of your time to another person. The floor is open.
Robert Vanderpool Jr., V-A-N-D-E-R-E-L-O-G. Just as mentioned, consent agenda resolution number 25-296 regarding 40 new gun holsters and gun sights. I have no problem with our boys and girls getting the equipment they need, but I just wanted to, just to let everybody know, or let the council know, that if this order hasn't been placed already, which I don't think it would be since it's seeking approval tonight, Atlantic Tactical in Somerset, New Jersey closed as of August 2025. So I would think that the address at least should be changed to one of the Atlantic Tactical's current stores or depots or wherever they can provide that equipment. So just want to let you know. Thank you very much.
Donna Vanderploeg, Vander, capital Ploeg. So at the last meeting on October 1st, the council motioned and approved to put the audio of the minutes on the township website. So, and then it looked like we were removing the actual written minutes and putting just the audio on there. And so I inquired about that for the September 3rd and the September 16th meeting. Since I sent the 2 emails to the council, one, the September 3rd has appeared back. Thank you. Because Robert's Rules of Order, and I have the whole definition of how minutes are supposed to be done, and the clerk just read in the beginning of the meeting on the agenda that we follow the Robert's Rules of Order. The minutes need to be in writing. It's not, they need to be accessible for historical reasons, for the council or the organization or whatever company is using Robert's Rules of Order to use to go back to. And the minutes are not supposed to be, they're not supposed to include personal feelings, thoughts, like what Mayor Will Susan did on September 3rd, where he read something, a speech sort of like, about 10 minutes of what his thoughts were about myself and my husband, because it wasn't factual, it was just his thoughts about possibly those people did something, or the last meeting on October 1st, where we got the Civics 101 presentation, all about the behavior of Mr. Birmingham. That all is not supposed to be captured in minutes of meetings. And now that the September 3rd meeting minutes are back on the township website, which they should be, I would like to ask the council why, because I wasn't at the meeting on September 16th, why you would approve the minutes without having the mayor's personal feelings about what he thought certain people did, mailed, sent, called and asked for, without any facts to back up. Because I have since spoken to the mayor face-to-face, and he played me this voicemail that he referred to, which did not have my name in it. I called, I found out, in talking to him, who the private investigator was. I spoke to the private investigator, who said he never said our name, that we did not call him. He said he didn't even tell the mayor who called him. The dollar amount was $20,000 offered by the person, not $50,000. He has never spoken to me before that day. This was last Wednesday, ever. He hasn't spoken to Mr. Vanderploeg in years since our children were in high school there. My son is now 33, when they both volunteered on the STAR committee together. And he said he did not tell Mr. Wilson, Mayor, anything about the Vanderploegs, because the Vanderploegs never called him. Yet that is now part of the public record in the minutes. And I personally have a problem with that. That is defamation of our character. And the fact that the council would have approved those minutes on the 16th without making a motion to remove that section is extremely upsetting. And I don't know if our council attorney can advise you as to how you can rectify that. Because I want it gone. It never happened. It wasn't true. As a matter of fact, Mr. Oster, who the mayor told me after the last meeting was the private investigator, was very upset and asked me twice in our conversation, he actually played you the voicemail? And I said, yes, he did. And there was actually an app that showed in writing everything that he was saying in the voicemail.
Sorry.
My 5 minutes are done.
Yeah.
So then you understand what my question is and what my issue is. So I would please like you to address it.
Council, can you say what the procedure would be if a town council, not necessarily us, we want to amend the minutes after they're already been voted and approved?
Minutes are to be an accurate reflection of what occurred at the meeting, so whether it's personal opinion or not, it's a reflection of the summary.
Okay. Floor is open. Okay, seeing no one, we'll close the public portion. And next we'll invite, we have no ordinances for this evening, we'll invite the CFO up for an annual procedure for best practice. I think the Department of Community Affairs has been doing this for at least, 15 years or so?
Yeah, 2010 was the first one.
All right.
Thank you. Always good to be here, presenting the best practices. So, yes, as indicated, this is a state requirement.
Do you have a paperwork for the council? A printout or something? Or
No, just what was given to me.
does anybody have?
It was in their packet.
Yeah.
It's in their folder.
Yeah, it's in their folders.
So,
I know in the past we printed out a brochure for us to go along with it.
okay, yeah, I mean, I emailed it to the clerk for.
You have it?
I didn't print it out.
That's what I mean.
Computer doesn't.
In the past, he gave it out so we could look at what the items were. There's 70, there's about 70 items altogether.
Yeah, so yes, this is a state requirement that the state has been doing since about 2010. Basically, it's suggestions of the best practices of things you should be doing or statutorily be doing. Some things such as, what did you see your budgets on time, the annual debt statement and your financial statement, or those things posted to the website. So, that's why when we go through the budget process, try to keep on that timeline because it is one of the questions. You have to get a minimum score. If you don't get the minimum score, they could take the state aid away. So the minimum score for this year was 32. Our score was 40, so we're well above that. One thing they started about 5-6 years ago is seeking information. There's a lot of unscored questions now. So this year there are 17 scored questions and 17 unscored, 51 scored questions, I believe. So they're trying to find out how towns are doing certain things, how they're implementing some new legislations. There's questions the last couple of years on the lead remediation, opportunity zones, haphazard, other things just to see, hey, how are you doing with this or what are you doing with that? So the basic requirement is one, we have to submit it timely, and two, it has to be placed on the agenda. So I don't even really need to talk about it. Some towns just put it on the agenda and that's it, just has to be voted. And if you want to discuss, discuss as little or as much as you want. So
It has to go on the website eventually too.
it does not have to go on the website. I think we have most of the past years. All right, so I'm just going to go over a few things and I'll let you guys chime in on anything that you want. There were 6 new scored questions this year. One was asking about cash flow projections and if they're going to be, do you do cash flow projections, which I do, and do you present them with, to the governing body? They've asked the news quiz on, they've asked this question before.
CFO and administration document, but, we answer perspective and just let you know any new questions, you can answer perspective, and that counts as a yes. You can answer not applicable, so if they ask about something, like, there was a question this year on fire districts. We don't have one, we answered not applicable, we get a yes, we get a point for that. Some of the scoring, the core values, items are 1 point, and the best practices are half a point. So we got 40 out of possible 44 points. Another new question was involving the SAGE grants. SAGE is the electronic grant portal that the state uses for various community fair grants, and they just want to make sure that you're in compliance, that you have all the people in there, and that you're, if you have a grant in there, you're, submitting your reports, et cetera, for that. So, that was another yes. Another one was there's egg notices, which are the electronic notices that they push out to CFOs for certified public works officers, various certified positions. So they asked if, all our people are, in that system, and, the answer is yes, they were. Another new one was, do you have a system to track the state licenses? I have a license as the CFO. Other departments have them. Clerk, obviously, the statutory positions, the collector and the assessor, as well as you've got, your building inspectors, you've got fire inspectors, you've got water and sewer license guy, the certified public works managers. So, I've created a spreadsheet with all those and going around and getting the expiration date so that we have that. So we don't have the answer perspective on that as a new question. We have that as a yes, because, I've been doing the legwork on that. So now we've got a spreadsheet to go, and then when we see, there are a few that have their certifications up at the end of this year, and, follow up with them, make sure that they have that. I guess this prompted because there was some sort of litigation matter, and one of the towns, their professional, person in that position lost their license, and so that kind of wasn't a good thing for whatever the nature of the case was. So that one came about as a result of some legislation. There's a new one regarding redevelopment and pilots. The state just issued a new local finance notice that is very specific about pilots and the 5% of certain pilots, not all pilots. But most redevelopment pilots, have to, 5% has to get submitted to the county. So I guess a few counties that have a lot of pilots, there were a number of towns that weren't submitting that 5%. So because some people weren't doing it right, now they have to, make legislations to kind of, force us to do what we should already be doing. But we had, I think, a yes and a not applicable on that, because we have a pilot that's about to go live that would kick in that 5%, but we haven't gotten the money. You don't have to turn over any money in the 5%. There's a spreadsheet that you have to submit quarterly, reporting to that. So, that one is kind of, very up our alley. We had actually been working on it, and then they formalized it, so, it's not a big deal. So we'll be complying with that. And the other one.
county has a copy of the pilot as well.
What's that?
The county has a copy of that.
Yep. And actually the county just today, the CFO just sent an email just with a letter reiterating the points in the local finance notice that, you need to do this. And so we'll be doing that when we get the money in. And the master plan, there's a number of questions about what you have on your website, and you have to identify the comments there. The master plan is your master plan documents on the website. We've had theirs. I worked with our land use person to make sure that some of the newer ones, there are a couple of 2024 and 25 updates that have been added to the website. So that is a yes and perspective. So those are all the new questions that we had this year. There were 10 repeated ones from last year. And then I'm just going to go through quickly some of the no answers that we had. One, we got a no because we don't have an electric vehicle charging station on any of our municipal facilities. we got a no because we don't have a formal EV/hybrid replacement vehicle policy. We got a no because of the audit findings. As when we presented the audit, we had 2 items that were repeated from last year.
So that's question number 20 on this list. And I just wanted to say that Councilwoman Gurudo yesterday morning had asked that, if possible, to have it available for the public. And we kind of told that the print's too small. And I'm not even sure everybody, all the council people up here even have the document with them right now. So listening to you. But you just mentioned number 20. And I'd like to at least concentrate on that one a little bit. Because I don't think in the past that that's been the issue that it is right now with regard to purchase orders, requisitions, thank you for shaking your head, the audit that took place. And so if you could just read the summary and the answer, then that would be great.
Okay, let me just get to, there's one more no question, and then we can come back to any of these. The other no question was, do you have your labor contracts listed on the on your township website? Our answer is no, we don't have them, but we do file them in accordance with state practices. That we have to send it down to the state Public Employment Relations Commission, so we've complied with that, so they are available, on the web. So those are the 4 no's that we have, and if you want me to go to question number 20, I'll read the whole thing for you. All right. Audit findings address areas needing improvement and ignoring these findings devalues the process. Municipalities should correct noted deficiencies. Have the audit findings in your 2023 audit been identified in a correction action plan and not been repeated in the 24 audit? If the answer is no, please list the repeat findings along with the date of the correction action plan submitted to the Division of Local Government File Services. If your 24 is late, answer no. Only answer NA if there were no audit findings. So the answer was no, and said recommendations regarding the monthly dog license reports and purchase order approvals, which is encumbrance, for the 2 items. The correction action plan was submitted to the state on July 1, 2025. So yes, we discussed this when the auditors were here with that. We're still discussing it. We had our auditors in on our training day about a week or 2 ago, and they went over some statutory requirements with it. We talked about some processes that, to help do that. I actually talked to one of the departments. They're saying, hey, I get this in regularly. What's the best way to go about this? So it's a work in progress. We're trying to make sure, that comment doesn't repeat itself. It is very difficult. What I've told departments in the past is, get out of the habit of calling up a vendor, getting a quote, and saying, okay, please the order. Say, okay, thank you for the order, or get the email and say thank you, and then put the PO in, and then send them the PO saying, now let's proceed with the order for that good or service. So a lot of it is just, training, just like safety, when we do workers' comp and general liability safety, it's always, it's obvious for the most part, how to be safe and do certain things, but sometimes it's one of those things where, you get busy, take shortcuts, so it's a matter of trying to keep that present in every department's mind and, make sure that it becomes, first nature and not second or third nature.
So in the past, the answer to that was yes, that handle appropriately. This time, they go through and they don't always check everything. But moving forward in the future, because of what you're doing as far as the training and everything, you should flip that to yes again next year, right? There shouldn't be any cases where there's any purchasing that takes place outside of the authorized amount that's able to handle, right? So,
It's definitely a work
Should be
in
good.
progress.
Yeah.
You know.
Biggest problem is the volunteer organizations,
Uncovering the problem.
because it changes every year, especially with fire departments.
but there should be, moving forward, no cases where purchases are made without the approval of the council, right? Without the authorization.
Well, the approval is from the signature for the administrator, on the purchase order. Then the order is official.
I'm saying when-
Purchase orders, but then from you guys as on the payment side of it is.
When the total encumbered amount to one vendor exceeds 44,000, the council has to give approval for purchases above that. That should, in the future, there should be no issues with purchasing and going back and then asking for authorization after the fact, right?
Well, that's a different issue than this, it's just a basic.
Still purchasing, procurement.
Yes, procurement and,
But that's not the issue.
Excuse me, he's giving the answer, okay? I'm just saying that we shouldn't have any order problems in the future, right?
Well,
We shouldn't have any order problems in the future with the procedures that you put in place now.
no, we've always, even before this, we've always had procedures where we try to track one, the first trigger, there's many thresholds, there's the quote threshold, which is $5,600 now, based upon the old bid threshold that was increased at the beginning of this year. And then there's the 17.5, which triggers the play. So, my office looks at, when we go over the 17.5 and do that, even if it's for a state contract that, doesn't require quotes, et cetera. So we're always looking at multiple thresholds. The $44,000 one is not really one we really need to look at unless it's, a vendor that doesn't have a state contract or doesn't have a bid contract that we had done within, that period or the prior year. So, 44 doesn't come into play too often, where it does, where, after the fact we went over the bid threshold, but it's something we do look at.
But if you do exceed the 44,000, the council has to get involved at that point.
I don't know if that you'd have to do, there's probably something on the council level. Typically what they say is if you're going, or if you're getting close and it's gonna be 44, then you go to bid. Sometimes it's kind of not that practical, it's November and, you're going to bid for, because you've already spent $40,000 and you maybe only gonna spend $5,000 more, so it's kind of like, almost like, you're just going through the motions, but it's something that you might have to do if you think it's gonna go over at that point.
On number 20 that we're discussing now, does anybody on the council have any follow-up
no,
questions?
to me, it just sounds like it's just a reinforcement of the purchase policy. Everybody needs to be aware of it. Especially like the mayor said, volunteer places, probably, a lot of hands in there at certain times, so, just reinforce the policy and make sure they go along with it.
And sometimes you have change.
I see similarities, past businesses that I've worked for, where you have constantly have some changeover with staff personnel, and they're not following. It may not be purchasing, it may be something else. But you just gotta keep reinforcing until everybody's in line and they finally get it. So it takes time.
That's pretty good confidence. Sometimes you have to just sit and you got a new person in and, they may not be as diligent as it is. One of the things that, probably is at the top of the auditor's checklist, the 48-hour deposits, any monies we get in is supposed to be deposit. That's another one that, we have gotten periodically. We do, deposits every day, but sometimes maybe somebody's sitting on a check or a deposit ticket and it doesn't hit the bank there. So we have gotten that one probably more often in the 20 plus years I've been here than this one. But, it's just a matter of things of kind of keeping the process we used to do in that case, Monday, Wednesday, Friday deposits. So that would be within every 48 hours. Now we do every day, so that reduces the risk of somebody holding something. So it's you just gotta make a good point about that.
If you notice a discrepancy or an issue with the procurement process, do do you bring it to the auditor's attention, or do you wait for the auditor to let you know about it? Throughout the course of the year, you know it's something such as, something
It
such
depends.
as some
There's
first
not,
aid squad or something.
there's been instances where I've asked guidance for either procurement or some other stuff before things got, too far along, so, yeah, at times I will reach out to them for guidance rather than, telling them, say, yeah, they won't find it.
Thank you.
Okay, so that's, all the things I had that I wanted to just, touch upon. If you have any other questions.
There's a lot of no's, not a lot of no's, there's a bunch of no's, but to me, ridiculous stuff like, electric, chargers and things like that, or some things about, urban enterprise zones and stuff. It's like, what does that have to do with suburban Jefferson?
Yeah, that's on the score item.
I mean, but on number 52, I think was that.
Okay, oh, I'm sorry, I missed that one in my note presentation. So yes, it's, purchase of insurance coverage and consultants is a limited exception to public bidding by virtue of being deemed an extraordinary unspecifiable service, a EUS, pursuant to NJSA 40A, 11-5, and I'm not gonna do the rest of it, but it says, see page 3 of the local finance notice from 2002 for further details. So I did not know this, there's a standard EUS certification page that needs to be completed when you do that. So when we've done our award to our risk manager at the reorg, we had listed it as a professional service agreement and, a EUS. So, but we didn't do that document. So I already have that basically filled out. And it's supposed to go to the governing body. So for this year, we will be in compliance with that. So we're going to be doing that one correctly.
Is this a newer? Is this to try to assure that towns and cities are? You have to get comparable insurance anytime you're going to be. Has to be the same type of thing. Is this to try to make sure that towns are looking at options as far as the ability to compare insurance providers? There's a reason that this is.
Well, the reason is because the EUS items on it, like insurance, it's something that it's tough to base it on lowest cost. So you can't really do a proposal for give us the lowest cost because you want somebody who's got an expertise in that area, especially municipal liability, municipal insurance. So it's tough, and then we don't pay directly to them. They get a commission from the insurance provider, whether it's a private entity or a public entity like the joint insurance fund we're members in. So they're already getting the same commission. They're all anybody who bids here, so to speak, is going to be getting the same commission. So it's tough to quantify into the dollars. So they call it a qualitative bid, where the quality of their services and their knowledge and expertise. So that's why, certain things are listed under EUS, because it's difficult to say who's got the best price. So that's really what the
Earlier this year, Councilman Schultz had brought up looking at a contact that he had as far as the possibility of just comparing another insurance plan with our insurance plan. That wouldn't hurt if it was the same comparable plan. Obviously, there's a reason why this was put in, why this new stability was put in there. It's just that you don't automatically go, take a look. You don't automatically just go vote remotely right to one person without realizing that there's other possibilities. You don't want to change, like you said, for the sake of changing. But I had heard from somebody who was at actually the library board, and hopefully it's not true, but they were talking about the possibility of the insurance, the health insurance the town has now, increasing over 30%. Did you receive anything on that, or
It's not increasing by 30%. We're waiting for the final.
for retirees and things like that? but it wouldn't hurt to take a look at what Mr. Schultz had brought up earlier this year, just to look at it and just say, nah, we don't want it, at least we know what we have now is good. This is why, there was a reason that this provision was put in here.
Yeah, and this is a question that they've had in past years, and they've recycled it. They did seem to add a little phrase about the one declaration form this year. So, yeah, you know, it's one of those things that they do repeat periodically because, you know, they would like, you know, you go to a bid, but you could do competitive contracting for it, and there's some other avenues for procurement that you could do. So they, you know, the push is after the pay-to-play movement is to try and get away from, you know, some of these EUSs, which are, you know, called those no bid contracts. You know, so when this papers do a article saying blah blah blah, you know, got X dollars of no bid contracts, and they have, you know, and the headline is that it's illegal. It's not illegal. It's legal for that thing, but there's certain you know, standards that you have to meet in order to do that. So, you know, it's one of those things that, you know, it's kind of a hot button in the public, so they, you know, do bring this up periodically.
Did you have any follow-up, Mr. Schultz, on what, anyone you talked to, what earlier this year? No?
Any other comments, questions?
Just the only other one that I went through was, number 64.
Okay. Does the municipality maintain on its website all current labor agreements, including memorandum of understanding, contract amendments, side letters, sidebar agreements? Please provide the link to the webpage with the current labor agreements posted under the comments. If the answer is no, I answered no.
So is it the reason? We're gonna, under the no, obviously, you don't want to have a no next year. If this comes out again, right? Good chance that it's not again. There's a reason why that question is put in there. The public right now, I don't know how they would try to find, maybe send an Oprah request in or whatever, but I think there's a reason that that's put in there. It's supposed to be trying to focus on being readily available. If you guys send Oprah requests in for this stuff, it just requires more and more time and more spinning in the building here. So I just like to say that I never saw a contract that was voted on last year on December 18th. I've yet to see it. It wasn't forwarded to the council. It's not on the website. I voted on something. Now when it's finalized, I've never seen it. So we're going to be working on putting this stipulation so that we can save Oprah requests and also have something readily available to the public so they can see this the way it's asking. Is that our plan?
Well, it's a decision by administration, and one of the things is this is the state's best practices, what they're suggesting is.
Best practice, yeah.
But there's things that you don't have to do. A lot of these things aren't required, so there is a home rule, you know, that you have certain things you want to do. You know, we have not wanted to do an EV charging station or certain other things, so, you know, it's, you know, some of these things are at the discretion of, you know, your administration.
It is located on PERC. If you go on the New Jersey PERC website, all of our current contracts are up there, plus all of our old contracts.
No, I was gonna say, what if we just put a hyperlink on, so you don't have to worry about uploading it on our end?
Well,
That way,
probably
if someone's looking for it, shoot you that way.
I don't think the general public has any idea of what in the world PERC is. They're going to go hunting around for it.
No, but if we put a
If we
link,
can put something, if we can put something on the website and make it easier and save people having to submit Oprah requests, I think it's a win-win. Especially if we don't have to put no down again next year when this comes up.
It'll be done.
okay, thank you. I have one question.
Please.
Just on
Hopefully,
this, oh no, on the 17th for the cannabis, I know that this is not really gonna happen until next year's budget, but how does that work for the taxes, like for our town to get relief from cannabis?
So right now, they're the one started, the one
Right, the one-
dispensary started, I think, after July 1st, but between September 30th, right?
yeah, somewhere around.
So they should be, at this point, working on a quarterly report and giving us a check. So that's, how it basically should, so we would take that money in as miscellaneous revenue. And the last 2 years, there's been questions. If you are getting money, how are you classifying? Are you doing it as an anticipated revenue using revenue code, and there's flexible charter accounts I'm not gonna get into, but, the middle numbers are 08-240 for the cannabis. That's the one they want you to use, or that's what they asked last year. And then this year they're asking, are you using it as Myrna? I think we answered that, not after, because we're not getting it yet. We're gonna be doing it as Myrna. But last year, I think when some of the towns were starting to get revenue in, the state went and looked up a report based upon that revenue code and showed that, on the budget documents submitted to the state, no one was using that code. So that's why they asked that in last year's, just to see, so that they could try and, use it in a gathering information thing. So what I think, and this came out of the one webinar I took the other day, is sometimes some of the towns are probably taking, so you can take it in as miscellaneous revenue and it helps build your surplus at year end, or you could take it in as a revenue saying cannabis tax, but you can't take in more than you took last year. So, so say if we get $5,000 in this quarter and $5,000 next quarter, we can take that $10,000 and not budget it, or we can take it as $10,000 as revenue that will help reduce the amount to be raised by taxation in our budget process. So those are two things. I know a bunch of towns, I mentioned the webinars on the other day, they're saying some of them a lot of towns haven't gotten to that step where they're using it as revenue to offset taxes in that direct budget year. It's kind of going indirectly through the surplus and the available surplus to use as revenue in the subsequent year. Because several factors. One, like us, we wouldn't have a full year of revenue, but even when you get a full year of revenue, maybe a bunch of other towns recently got one. So even though you maybe got 100,000 last year, and the neighboring towns had a bunch of new licensees on the same, say, Route 15 thoroughfare, that might diminish what you're going to get the next year. So being that there isn't a track record of proven revenue year after year, a lot of towns are being conservative with their budgeting techniques regarding that.
So there's a couple of things on here that probably will be no's if they pop out here going in the future with the electric charging stations and urban development and things like that. But there's two things that we're very close to addressing. One is the pilot program for the housing, for the apartments on 15, which we're close to addressing, and next year I'm sure it will be addressed. And the other is, as Councilwoman Garrido said, the cannabis and the funding. So those two things they're close to being addressed next year. They'll be on this.
Yeah, because I think in other years they have asked about cannabis. At the time we were not applicable because we hadn't done the framework or had any licenses that were ready to go live. So.
Okay. The only thing the two things we're gonna just do is make sure that there's a yes to the audit next year, and also put the labor contracts on the website, so we can pick up 2 more yeses under the best practice form for the Department of Community Affairs moving forward. Thank you, Bill. Thank you. Thank you, Bill. Okay. Next, we'll have reports of the administrator and the mayor. And Mayor, you'll have 5 minutes, like the other guests here, If you choose to have some other business, you can, it's not, you're laughing, huh?
Yep.
Okay, there you go.
You're gonna silence the
I'm
mayor
not gonna
at a
silence
meeting.
you. You'll have 5
You're gonna
minutes.
silence the mayor at a meeting, Mr.
It's
Birmingham.
not your
That
meeting.
is
We
wonderful.
don't,
That is wonderful.
we don't
That is
interfere.
great. I'm sure the public is
don't-
pleased by that decision that you're gonna limit the mayor at a public meeting. Wow. Talk about transparency.
You can always.
5 minutes. I can participate in the meeting as it states in our town ordinance. I'm allowed to, and I'm on the agenda. You cannot limit me to how long my report
You'll
can
have
be.
5 minutes. If you want to have more, you can petition the council.
No,
If you want to put something on, you don't control the agenda, Mr. Mayor.
I'm on the agenda.
You don't control it. You think you control it, Mr. Mayor.
I don't. I'm on the
You
agenda.
control this meeting. You control.
You give, when you give me the
Mr. Mayor,
report, I have the floor.
Mr. Mayor,
Stop.
Mr. Mayor, you control,
Stop.
you control the day-to-day
Oh, my
affairs of the
God.
town.
Can we just move on?
You don't control this meeting.
Oh, maybe you just won't come to the meeting, so how's that?
That's okay. You know,
You really think that's okay?
no, I think.
Do you really think this is good?
I think that.
You really think this is a wise decision? Limit the mayor at a public meeting. I
You
love
have
it.
5 minutes like any other
I
guest.
love it.
You need more.
Well, I won't
time.
need more than 5 minutes tonight. I have no PowerPoint presentation
You
tonight,
need-
Mr.
you
Birmingham.
need
Don't worry.
You have a PowerPoint presentation. You can let the council know in advance. Very simple. I can't believe you guys are upset.
Absolutely
Just stop
amazing.
repeating yourself.
And you guys let this go on.
We've made it clear. Let him speak.
Amazing. Laughing stop. That is, Madam Administrator.
I attended the Blue Bass on October 7th. The township received the first payment for the PFOA settlement with 3M. One amount is for the Milton Water System, the other is for the Lake Apacon Water System. I was on a Zoom meeting with the representatives from the Army Corps of Engineers related to the sewer project. The township's in the process of working on the IDR report, and in this, we can utilize some in-kind services towards our contribution to this project. So if you remember, we earmarked $250,000 in the budget, and he indicated that if we utilize any of our engineering services, that could go towards in-kind. So I am going to submit that in the IDR that there's a potential that we may utilize some of those costs, and maybe we won't use the full $250, but we'll get that all together. The energy aggregation program went out for bid. This is through the GEA. It's Concord Energy, and they had a successful bid in September. This is for our residential customers. I don't know if you remember, several years ago, we agreed to sign up for this program, and it gave our residents customers the ability with JCP&L bills to either take what the co-op price is or opt out and stay on the JCP&L rate. So this last bid was successful, and it'll update the numbers, which every resident, as long as they opt in, everybody's opted in, you have to opt out, is a 7% savings from the current JCP&L rate. So that was some good news. This will take effect March 1st and will go to September 30th of 2027. I'm going to be working with the energy aggregation group to come out and speak to the senior groups just to explain it so that they understand it. And I believe they'll also be hosting a Zoom meeting on it for any questions. The garbage bids were open today. There were 2 bidders, and right now we're reviewing them. A meeting was held today with the County of Morris regarding the bridge replacement on Cozy Lake Road, and they're finalizing the planned project. They wanted to get our insight on what they're planning to do, and this project will be scheduled to go out to bid for 2027. And finally, I got an update as well with the county today that the Three Rivers Bridge project, which was received, that the county received grant money for, is actually currently out to bid, and the bids open on October 24th. And hopefully they'll award sometime in November and get the contract underway and started in the spring. They do have some DEP requirements because of being around the water and stuff, so there's certain times that they can't work, but that was some good news about it.
Thank you.
Got your timer on, Mr. Birmingham?
Actually, I just want to add
Your timer.
Hold on. I
I'm
just want
sorry.
to, excuse me, I just want to add one other thing to address Mr. Vanderpool's question. I did find the corporate office circle number for Atlantic Tactical, so I'll provide that to the clerk. It's 763 Corporate Circle, New Cumberland, PA, 17070. Our quote was dated 8/14, so they haven't fully closed that office, so that's why. But we'll just make sure that that's reflected properly.
All right, put the timer on. The Route 15 bridge, we got word it was supposed to be reopened. Route 15 South Bridge was supposed to be reopened in October. We were promised that it would be fast-tracked after the closure last year. We got word, I inquired because they poured the decking, thinking that it would be completed this month. And sadly, and to my disappointment, and we tried to reach out to the chief of staff from DOT, who was our contact. Unfortunately, much of the Murphy administration is bugging out because they're at the end of their term. And Chris Scales, who was our contact, had left 4 weeks ago. So the word we got back was that it would be early 2026 is when they anticipate finishing that bridge, which again, highly disappointed because they promised us it would be fast-tracked and completed in October. We hired a new police officer effective today. I can't even pronounce his first name. It's Ramolo Garcia. We call him G. Garcia. He's a intergovernmental transfer from Patterson. He graduated police academy with one of our recent graduates. Came highly recommended. He's bilingual, and I think he'll be a great addition to the police department. The newsletter is out to the printer, so they're putting in some advertising to help offset the cost of the newsletter, and that will be out as soon as that's all compiled and printed. We welcome the new business in town over at the Lakeside Shopping Center, Lash Incorporated. Basically, if anybody needs lashes or eyebrows or waxing, feel free. I could do some. We attended the Blue Mass. Father Sean from Our Lady Star of the Sea did a wonderful Blue Mass for our first responders last week. Bill Koch, athletic director, also hosted a first responder night at the high school football game last Friday night. I attended the St. Thomas 75th anniversary, presented them with a proclamation on their anniversary. It was a very nice event. And then this weekend is the Fall Festival and the Haunted House. I think I'm under 5 minutes, Mr. Birmingham. I'm done.
Okay. You can always go a lot more than 5 minutes if you give your item to the agenda and you put on the agenda for what you want to address the town.
Not how it works, Mr. Birmingham. It's a report. My time.
Okay, we'll start now. We'll go to the council report. Excuse me. You know what? You were who I was talking about before. You laughed and you screamed and everything. Yeah, there you go. Not to say what you want to say.
Not a public comment yet, Bob.
You're
asking
stop.
me now. You're
Last
addressing me,
meeting, you never stopped.
You're addressing me. Do not do that. You love
We are
banging that down.
we're going to have a recess. We're going to have a 2-minute recess.
You do what you want, Bob.
Same
You go in your corner.
Why are you poking the bear?
Why are you poking the bear?
Because he's yelling out there.
No, he didn't. He didn't say anything. You said he left.
And I asked him to stop and he started talking.
Please move forward.
No, we'll take a minute. We'll take a minute to repose ourselves.
I'm out. I'm out.
This is exactly what I said at the beginning of the meeting.
Just a sticker.
Okay, so we'll move on to the next part of the agenda. Hopefully that's the only short recess we will need. I believe it will be. Mr. Schultz.
Post paving in Lake Forest, I have not heard any complaints from the residents. Everybody seems fine. We've always had problems speeding down Yacht Club, but that's doesn't matter how the road conditions are. But I actually got to say it's been better this past season. So the residents are kind of helping along with that, yelling at speeders along the way and all that stuff. But overall, good job. No complaints from our residents. And, they're happy. I'm happy. So. Also attended the Blue Mass for our first responders today. College Farm, as the mayor said, does a really nice job. I'm a parishioner in the church anyway, so I think I'm a little biased. Bob Sean and it was well attended. Pretty good vigil yesterday that they had at the Freedom Church. It was another nice ceremony that they did on Charlotte's birthday. I don't think it's a political event whatsoever, so that's why I'm telling you here. And it's just nice to honor him, and yeah. And the last thing, I did drive. I was thinking about that bridge on Route 15 South today, as I was going to Dover. I was like, when is this ever going to be done?
5 years.
I've never seen a project take so long in my life. I don't want to call it a simple bridge, but it's just.
It was a simple bridge.
I've seen the bridges at the Outer Banks in North Carolina, in less time.
Yes.
It goes a few miles, so. But thank you for the update on that. And fire company number 2 had an open house recently. I was driving by, they did a really nice display, brought out all the trucks and rolled it up. It looked very, very cool. I was like happy I just happened to be passing by. I didn't stop there, I was working or whatever, but it was, I hope it was a well-attended event. I hope we got some volunteers. Thank you.
Okay, President Birmingham, a question, if we can put on the November 15 meeting, just a discussion for the cannabis hours? Because I know that we started talking about it, but we didn't really have a full board yet to discuss it, to help out.
Yeah.
To change it out, yeah, from the letter that was sent. And then, my favorite time of year is early voting starts October 25th, is everyone should vote, especially in this one, or all of them. I saw the town training, it was very cool, I'm very happy that you guys did team building after, and the mayor had to cook all those burgers, I saw the pictures, very cute. It's always a fun time when you get to hang out with your staff and you don't have to work it. Went to the library meeting, they're very happy that we're showing up. You're right, also went to the 75th for St. Thomas. I was surprised, they heard the proclamation, that was very nice. Did not realize we were going to do that. And then my last thing is, please be careful on Halloween with all our little kids everywhere. It's a Friday night, you know they're going to be out late. And hopefully Brucey night's uneventful for our police officers.
Just a couple things. I was away at last meeting, I apologize. I heard I missed a little excitement. I attended the Blue Mass service as well. Father Shalom is probably one of the most favorite people that I've met in my life. I think he's just a tremendous person, and people should just listen to what he has to say. He's just a great person. And to honor all our workers is, you know, our Blue Mass workers is super important for all of us because they keep us safe. So, like Dan said, Councilman Schultz said, excuse me, last night was not a political get-together, but it was a really great event that the Freedom Church put on, and Bob and Donna were involved with the Charlie Kirk thing. I thought it was just very moving. I love that the movement's moving strong, and that's good for all of us. I believe that. I want to say something. I'm sitting here, and you know, I want to try to stay calm, and otherwise my wife will shoot me. I've been on the council now 5 years, coming up on 5 years, and you know, I'm the vice president, so I guess I'm speaking for myself. You know, I think we should apologize to the public of kind of the message that we're sending out to you guys of what's going on between the administration and the council, and I just think that it's something that we should be working closer together. Yeah, we're not going to agree on everything, but to sit here and act like 2-year-olds and, you know, and yell at each other and do this, I don't want to be a part of this, to be honest with you. You know, he's going to hit the gavel and tell him he can't talk more than 5 minutes to the mayor of our town that, you know, represents all of us. It doesn't work for me. It really doesn't. I got on the council, I thought, to make a difference. okay? You can only do so much, all right? Your hands are tied on a lot of things. But what's happening right now is that this conversation being held, not even inter-team here on the council, that we're supposed to be, voting on together and working together, and we're not. And it's just totally irresponsible. And I'm just sharing that, but, the bottom line is that, let's just put this shit aside. Okay, cursed, I'm sorry. And let's try to work together. I mean, we're here to represent you guys. We're here to work for the town, okay? If I have to step down, because if he's gonna keep acting like a 2-year-old and hitting the gavel and threatening everybody, your job, Mr. President, is to run the meetings. You're not a dictator. And I'm asking you that you please just run the meetings and be respectful. That's all I ask.
So I want to.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your time.
Okay. I'd like to thank Mr. Egan. You were maybe not in the hot seat, but I know that 15 years ago, this best practice thing was actually fun, I think. Now it's getting to be 70 questions and a lot of stuff that has nothing to do with suburbia. And I think that you did an excellent presentation. I think that you addressed all the issues for the council. That's what we're here for. We're here to learn, and we're here to make sure we have enough answers to move forward. And thank you for all that time and a lot of preparation that went into it. And I'm hoping that next year we can get the bugs out, and so people in the audience can I'm pretty sure we'll be able to do it. We have quite a bit of time to work on it, so that people in the audience can follow through, because you spent a lot of time. And I'm thinking that people in the audience didn't have a whole big grasp on what you were saying, but I believe it's going to be in the minutes and it's recorded, so that's great. And just moving forward, we have Councilwoman Garudo talking about the next agenda. We don't have another meeting for quite some time because of the election. We only have one meeting in November. I want to thank the administration and Mr. Egan on following through with something that Councilwoman Garudo had brought up way early in the year during the budget process, and Bill agreed to provide us an update on that strategic plan that was presented 5 years ago. And it would actually have the 5-year budget projection summary. It was very, very informative to see where we are, where we came from, where we're going. And also for the next agenda, we'll have the 5-year levy cap calculations, which is part of that same procedure. And lastly, the 5-year tax rate projection. So those 3 things we can look at in comparison to what you did 5 years ago. And I think the timing is really appropriate, because getting into the budget season, we'll have a good layout of what we want moving forward. And so we have those 2 things on the agenda. Anybody from the council, administration, mayor wants to add anything else on, just let us know, and we'll be organized, and we'll have everything all planned and ready to go. We'll be next meeting on November 12th. And so we can move forward then. Okay, we'll have the resolution 25-288 for the bills. I think Mrs. Garudo, her usual 39, circle 39. 39. We'll go to Mrs. Garudo. Acknowledge that she takes a lot of time prior to each meeting to look over the bills, and a lot that goes into that.
I give credit to the office that puts that together. I was not projecting. That's a huge.
So, motion for 289, the bill. Motion. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Garudo.
Yes.
Mrs. Silver.
Yes.
President Hales.
Yes.
President Dunn.
Yes. Okay, resolution 25-280, resolution approving the septic easement for Richard Kelly and Joe, Erica, Chickatell. And then we had that, couple come to our meeting a couple meetings ago. So pretty much everybody knows what this is about, I think. We have a motion for 280. 290.
Motion. Oh, sorry. Second. I didn't hear you.
Mrs. Bruce? Yes. Mr. Schultz?
Yes.
Vice President Keilish?
Yes.
President Berman?
Yes. Resolution 25-291, resolution of the Township of Jefferson authorizing the adoption of the 2025 Morris County, New Jersey Hazardous Mitigation Plan update. A motion? Second? Any comment? Your roll call, please.
Mrs. Guido? Yes. Mr. Schultz?
Yes.
Vice President Keilish?
Yes.
President Berman?
Yes. There are no ordinances. We have the consent agenda with no licenses and no appointments. We'll have 292 to 297. On those 6 consent agenda resolutions, is everybody good with them?
Yes.
Your motion?
Motion.
Roll call, please.
Mrs. Guido? Yes. Mr. Schultz?
Yes.
Vice President Keilish?
Yes.
President Berman?
Yes. Okay. Next, we'll have the public comment portion. Please state and spell your name for the record. Each speaker is limited to 1 comment of no more than 5 minutes, and the floor is open.
Scalpo, last name G-A-L-F-O. First question is for the administrator. You talked about the utility. Can you have a meeting at a council meeting as well? So the public can come to the first hand on that, if that's okay with the
I
council?
mean, we could actually have them come in and do a public meeting
Yeah.
if you want, so they don't mind coming out as much as they want.
Okay,
You want to put on the agenda, or do you want to have a public meeting?
whatever, however,
What's the council?
whatever the council feels.
Whatever you do.
Okay. So the next thing that I'm gonna ask, and I'm gonna ask a question, I'd like a verbal response from each of the council members. So, Mr. Kalish, you stated tonight that you're on the council to do what's best for the community and citizens, and Mr. Schultz, you did that at the last meeting. But I'd like to hear that from.
I just want to say that according to our procedures, the meeting is addressed to the chair. We can address you individually.
Okay, that's
If you
fine,
want
I'll
to
address
send
it
an
to you.
email or whatever you might want to send.
Okay, so I'm asking the question is, are the people on this council, to represent the best interest of the township and its residents? Can I have a verbal reply, yes or no to that?
Absolutely, yes. Absolutely.
1,000%. I would not do this for
Okay,
any reason.
so the reason I ask this is we've been kicking the can around for the last couple of meetings, 4 or 5 meetings. So, Mr. Birmingham, you've been in the hot seat quite a bit about this, with leaking emails, ethics, things like that. We've seen a couple things that happened at the meeting tonight. First thing is, the start of the meeting, the clerk read an article that asked everybody to shut their cell phones off. During the meeting, your cell phone rang and went off. So you have this image that the public's seeing that it's do as I say, not as I do. So, as a resident, as a business owner, I don't like that representation. The second thing is the ethics. We've asked by numerous people in the community to have an investigation if you in fact did something wrong or right, and every time it comes up, there's a motion made and the council denies the motion. They don't want to investigate it. So I did a little homework, which I hate doing research, but I did, so I can speak here tonight with facts and not emotion. So, the ordinance 6-16 was read into effect on July 15th of 2015 and became part of the code the 1st of 2016. At that meeting, Mr. Birmingham, you voted yes to the ethics and emails procedures. Then, the exact date, on 3/23 of 2018, the document was revised, and then you signed it on 12/11/2019. So you stated at previous meetings you were unaware that you were doing something wrong by leaking the so-called emails. So clearly, there's documentation that you signed numerous times that you were aware of the policy and the procedures. So I'm asking the council tonight to please make a motion to have this investigated, and if it is found that Mr. Birmingham, in fact, did something wrong, he is disciplined properly. And in the procedures here, there is very detailed information on what the discipline should be. Not going to go into them details tonight, because I'm not throwing anybody under the bus, but I think that the public should get to voice their opinion and see this through, that it's properly investigated, because you represent us as taxpayers, and if you did something unethical, you should be held accountable for it.
You're at the 5-minute mark, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. I'll address your concerns. There's nothing that I have to say that's any different than what was originally said. As far as leaking goes, nothing was leaked. It was a public document. The actual statement of, it wasn't a contract. I mentioned that I didn't even see the contract. It was a document that, again, for the third time, that the administrator had said is not to become public until after the vote. The vote was on December 18th of last year. At that point, it became public. It wasn't even a document. It had nothing to do, as I originally said, it had nothing to do with any litigation or anything. I'll have to check into what you're looking at. But as far as ethics goes, we have our ethics on our website, and there's 6 different items that deal with the town ethics. It's Chapter 7, Administration of Government, Article 7, Administration Generally, Subsection 770, and you have A through E. That is our ethics code, and the first 1, 2, 3, 4 have to do with people and officials that get money and finances through the township. Now, I believe that you're on the planning board. I also believe that you get quite a bit of money throughout the course of the year paid directly to your company, okay? So that could easily be looked at as one of the ethical breaches on this administration of government. I get nothing out of this. All I get is aggravation from a few people, 2 or 3 people, that want to come up here and make a couple of accusations that are totally frivolous, totally bogus, and totally false. Okay?
Can I
I'm
reply
done.
to that?
I'm done.
Can I
I'm
reply?
done.
Because you made a comment at the
Which
last
Tom, we're
meeting
done.
that you
You
admitted
made
to
the
doing
accusation.
it.
You made the
So
accusation. I
please,
responded
have
to
the
your
council
accusation.
investigate. Make the motion and investigate.
There's plenty of investigations going on right now.
Okay.
I'm being investigated, and we made a motion, and the township is being investigated for how they handled this procedure. Okay, it shouldn't be public now because it's under investigation. Hopefully, at the next meeting, the town council produced 6 questions directly to the administration. I have the questions. I'm not going to make them public now because the township is getting ready to prepare answers to these questions. Okay? So there was 2 investigations
So what are the two
We're
investigations?
not going into it.
Well, are you gonna investigate what I asked to be investigated? You haven't answered that.
Both are being investigated. And as I said before, as was brought up on several occasions, I did nothing but provide a public document, not just a public document, a document that was voted on at a public session. Okay, right? I've been accused by the same exact bogus accusation of drawing conclusions that don't exist.
Council,
It's simple as that. I'm done.
can you please stop? Can you please stop this?
Absolutely.
Anybody else? Public session?
No.
Mike Dwyer, Kahwatty. Yes, I was provoked last meeting, so I apologize for that. But I was also provoked and surprised by you dropping the F-bomb, at least when Councilman Kalish dropped the S word. He apologized immediately. You never apologized to this public. As a taxpayer, I would expect that, but you're not gonna do that because you like banging the gavel way too much. An MOA that you had questioned, you got privy to see it. And then it went to the administration, and then it went to the union. So you have a copy of the MOA, and you have a copy of the contract. So you don't need an investigation into that, Bob. You can actually compare the two, highlight what you think is in question, ask the administration, and I'm sure they'll be happy to come up with an answer. So spending the taxpayer money on an investigation on that is ridiculous. The other thing is, you keep on making innuendos to taxpayers about being on the land use board and taking business and thinking it's proper or improper. You're alluding to that. You've alluded to that with our mayor in reference to Atlantic Communications, I believe. You have many members of town council here that own businesses in this town. And some are service businesses that service some of our township members. Some are own a bar, and we visit that bar and we spend money. Sometimes we even get a free drink, maybe. Who knows? Is that directly or indirectly? I don't think so. I think that's capitalism, Bob. And I think it's allowed in America. So I think your way out of place with this, you also admitted to wrongdoing multiple times up here in front of everybody, and it's on record. So at the very least, I think this town council should ask for you to step down from town council president at the very least. Also, in the last meeting, you were in broach of Robert's Rules of Order, I believe, because Miss Melissa Senator made a motion and nobody seconded it, nobody dismissed it, nobody even acknowledged it. So that in itself, you're not a bad guy, Bob. You're just not smart enough to be where you are. Thank you.
May I just make a correction?
Sure, please.
My business is in West Windsor, it just has an open address, just for the record.
Right, but do
I
people
just wanna
from
let you
Jefferson go there?
Listen, I don't ask anybody to go there.
I
I'm
understand,
just
and
I'm
I'm not-
clarifying the zip code, that's all. Not arguing,
I'm not making accusations. I think you have a right to
We're
make
done,
that.
Mr. Kwame. I mean, I know you're gonna come to every one of these meetings and pretty much address the same situation. But Mrs. Garuda just made a comment, and that's the end.
And I appreciate that comment, thank you.
Okay. So, the floor is open. Public comment. Seeing no one, we'll close the public portion. I just want to,
Before, excuse me. Mr. President.
yes,
Thank you. So, I want to be responsible, and I do listen to what the public said. And again, I wasn't at last meeting, so I'm going to leave my emotions out of that meeting. But I know Councilwoman Senator did make a motion, and Council, I would like to make a motion to have Mr. Birmingham investigated.
your motion's not recognized. Because it's out of order, it's out of place. Okay?
Council.
It was already,
Am I not
so
allowed
your
to
motion,
make-
your
Council,
motion,
I'm asking the council, am I allowed to make a motion?
it has to be,
Okay,
that
thank you.
is, I
Thank
believe
you.
it doesn't have to be accepted and addressed to the To the chair? Does any time somebody, that's Robert's rules? Okay.
So I make a motion, it needs to be seconded. If we're
I
gonna
don't
move
think
forward.
that's the way Robert's rules work, I will check.
Are we gonna second it?
Okay, the motion dies, and I would like to have the council, the attorney, address exactly the procedures for people making motions right out of the sky blue. I don't believe that.
Wasn't a motion out of the sky blue. I asked for your time, and you gave me the floor.
I don't believe.
You gave me the floor, and I spoke to the attorney.
People want to have a cordial meeting. I don't believe.
Very good point.
There you go again, Mr. Kawhi. I have another one. Same thing. There you go. You two people, same thing. All right. So I'm telling you that I have the questions. I'm not going to make them public right now. We have a investigation going on that's being addressed. 6 questions. I could make them public now, but I don't want to have a debate. I think the best thing to do is to wait for a response back from the administration. I'm not going to turn it into a fiasco. If I was like some other people, I would throw those questions out and say, here it is.
Counsel,
Excuse me, you don't have to.
Counsel, I have another question for you. Counsel, if,
You don't have to.
as a councilman, aren't we all supposed to be working together and aware if some questions were brought up by certain council members? Aren't we all supposed to know what
Mr.
questions?
Kalish, you were.
I'm asking the council.
They're asking for public comments. They have to send open public records requests into the clerk's office to receive public documents. That's been your opinion most recently.
I'm sure we're speaking on.
If we ask for a public record, you have to, Mr. Chairman, we ask for a public record. In your opinion, the council has to send open public records requests to the clerk's office to obtain public documents.
I hear what you're stating, unless you're being considered, I don't know what you're talking about. You're giving me a statement, you have a question, I'm happy to do it.
Okay.
I'm trying to find advice, we're getting things.
Okay. I sent in an open public records request to obtain a document from a news media source who was looking into this contract dispute. And
You just said it has to be discussed in closed session.
this is her opinion. No,
You're
this
gonna have to
is,
get specific questions.
Yeah. so originally, you came back to me that it has to be.
You are putting into
Okay.
the public attorney-client advice.
Does the town-
Specific question, I will answer.
I sent it as a resident, and it's your opinion that the town council has to send open public records request to obtain public documents.
I'm not gonna answer your no.
That's not different than. Okay,
Make a motion to adjourn.
I'll ask for the motion. We'll follow Robert's rules. Which we just started to do this evening, actually. Is everybody good? Is there a motion to adjourn? Is there a second? All in favor? Aye. Thank you.